Oh, no, that's not gonna work. Oh, that might be the fix. Okay. Maybe? What was on? Settings. There we go. Save. Done. Alright, sorry about that, everybody. I guess you were watching me talk and not hearing a thing. But that's one of the benefits of having someone in the same room as you. They can tell you, hey, you're talking to an audience of one. Yourself. Mic wasn't working. Fixed it. Got it back. So, here we are. Thank you for joining me. Let's start from the beginning, right? So, I'm back for a night. Wanted to stream. Wanted to do something. It's been a while. Been gone for a little bit. So, what's up, everybody? How you doing? We're going to talk about some Jedi stuff. We got some Jedi lessons going on. One of the things that I was talking about to myself before we fixed this mic problem was that actions speak louder than words. And pretty known lesson, pretty known concepts, pretty basic stuff that you probably hear a lot in life. And sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes we kind of forget that lesson. So I'll use myself as an example that even if I say, hey, I'm going to work on a new schedule, I'm working on videos, I'm going to upload more videos, we got more content coming. If you haven't been seeing content from me for like, what has it been, 2 months, then those actions speak louder than any words I can speak. The actions that I have been doing, you'll be like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it. No offense, nothing against your integrity, but your actions speak louder than words, right? And that's something that all Jedi, whether you're talking fictional Jedi, Jediism, Jedi real, it doesn't matter, right? Any Jedi is going to tell you the same thing, that the actions that we observe is what kind of leads us to our conclusions. Little investigation, right? Words are pretty empty if the actions don't back them up. So, in relation to that, if a Jedi says that you're acting a fool, if they say you're not speaking properly, that you're using fallacies, or that you're acting like a douche canoe, well, maybe there's a reason for that kind of language, right? And you have to look at your actions. Are the actions lining up towards that? Is that what the Jedi is basing their opinion on? Is that what they're working on? And 9 out of 10 times, which 10%, right? Error there is absolutely what's going on. And so you have to really look at yourself and look at the people that you trust when they make comments or they make observations, right? Sometimes we get defensive and we get, well, there's no need to insult me. I don't like the language that you're using. And we have to take a step back and ask ourselves, are we acting in a way that leads someone to those conclusions? Is that an observation, or is it an insult? And there's a whole line in there. There's a whole other places we can go with it. But that's one of the things you have to really consider when you're looking at Jedi philosophy and just living and acting as a Jedi, is that your actions are ultimately what you're going to be held accountable to. It doesn't really matter your intentions. One of my favorite sayings is, good intentions pave the road to hell, right? So you have to consider, are my actions in line with my words? Where are my actions leading? What can those look like from the outside? Not everybody knows us. Not everybody knows our motivations. So we have to consider how we are presenting ourselves and what our actions are saying about us. So that's something that I wanted to talk on and just kind of ruminate on, right? Put it out there, food for thought kind of stuff, you know what I also didn't do? Man, it's been such a long time since I've streamed. I didn't set anything up. Hang on. We're going to do this properly because I forgot something kind of important here. If y'all are commenting, I can't see it. There we go. Okay, here we go. We got Hello, Opie. How are you today? By Peyton the Nerd. Peyton the Nerd. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it. By the way, can't hear you talking. I think your audio might be messed up. Yep. Uh, yeah. Hopefully that's been solved, right? Or I'm just talking to myself again. Good to see you, brother. How are you? From Christopher. Hey, Christopher. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Peyton the Nerd. Again. Zeno. 2077, by the way, just finished a playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077. So, love the nerd. In need of some Jedi guidance today. Got caught up in some nasty drama. Yo, Peyton, hit me up, man. We could talk about it. You know, Jedi philosophy. That's what we're here for. And I finally got all this set up. Let's set this up properly. Kind of set it up properly. Okay, I got you. Hit me up, Peyton. What kind of Jedi guidance do you need? What kind of drama? Spill the tea. As I'll get nerdy with you. Hang on. There we go. Bam. Congratulations on Cyberpunk. Thanks, man. It's like my, I don't know, 5th playthrough or whatever, but it's actually my first time doing the Johnny Silverhand ending. So, you know, it was very interesting. I really liked it, actually. I really liked this ending. So yeah. Okay, go ahead, Peyton. You can hit me up, man, anytime. But just you know, and while I wait for that, you know, I'll continue on with what I was saying. One of the things with Jedi philosophy, and we see it with like, where you really see this philosophy come from, you know, at least for me, is when you look at the Jedi Apprentice series by Jude Watson. You really see Qui-Gon reminding Obi-Wan not to judge a book by its cover or the nicety that things say, but that people, you have to look at how people act, and you have to try to put 2 and 2 together, right? You have to try to add that up. All right, what do we got here? Message redacted. Peyton. Alright, man. No worries about that. But, yeah, that's one of the things that I look at. You know, it's one of my big... When I first got into, like, Jedi philosophy, like, big time, I mean, like, really started getting involved in the community, was back during the pre-release, release, and kind of post-release of Episode 1. Is when I really got big into the community. And after Episode 1, they released, you know, the Jedi Apprentice series. So that was that's always one of the sources that I look to, and it's something that I recommend if you can get it. All right, Peyton the Nerd. It's a lot, but I had plans with a friend, but she stood me up and went and cheated on her boyfriend with my boyfriend's cousin. That is indeed a lot. That is Peyton, bro. That's a lot, man. Okay, so yeah, you had plans with a friend. She stood you up. Not cool, first of all. Like, never stand someone. If you're gonna change plans, just let someone know. Tell people, especially if they're a gamer, nerd, comic books, game. It doesn't matter, right? Like, those of us who are introverts or just nerds in general, whatever, it doesn't matter. We got things we could do with our time. We got Netflix shows we can watch. We got games we can play. We got comic books we can read. Like, just let us know if the plans have changed. We're good with it. Trust us. We got stuff we could do with our time. And then she went and cheated on her boyfriend with my boyfriend's cousin. With your boyfriend's cousin. That's just wild. That's like a web that's weaved into things. And it happened literally the day after she criticized me for being polyamorous, claiming that I was a cheater for being poly. Alright. First of all, that I never take those criticisms seriously. I hope you didn't, because I mean, those always come from a place of ignorance. Anybody who's been around that community or knows people who are poly and things of that nature, there's full understanding. Even if you don't practice it, I don't consider myself polyamorous, but you know, I fully understand the people who do, and I support. It. First of all, I support because I admire it. I can barely, I could barely handle my relationship. I'm pretty bad at that, so I always give support to that. It's rocks. It's always great stories too. It's always good times. It's always love. It's always full support. But yeah, so I hope you didn't take those criticisms seriously. But yeah, so I have kind of a personal story that's similar to this. I have a little personal experience with this with someone who criticizes, and then you're like, you really have no place. You have no place to criticize. From what I hear, you're doing great in your relationship, but Black Hide Entertainment. First of all, love the name. Love the name. Black Hide Entertainment. That's cool. And I'm going to have to go check out, whatever that entertainment is, because that just sounds awesome. It's Jax. Hi. All right. Hi. What's going on, Jax? Still, cool name, man. If you're creating stuff, like, that's awesome. And I want to check out what you're creating. But I try. Me and my boyfriend are doing well despite all this, so that's good. That is good. Because all you can really focus on is your own relationships and how those, manifest and the people. And being poly's tough because sometimes you get the people in there who are like, oh, I'm poly, and really, no, they're not. They're very possessive. They're very, they get into it. I'm standing still again. I'm doing that. I do that too much. I focus on one thing at a time here. But yeah, that's tough that someone would do that. That's definitely some tea. What is the Jedi advice that you're seeking in this? Because, like, the situation is, that's tough. But what is the Jedi advice you're seeking in that? I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, what's the Jedi advice? You're doing good in your relationships, which is A plus, and the main thing, the important thing. But are you looking to, like, talk with her about that, or how to maybe like how to confront that? What would a Jedi do in that situation? We can go back to actually the topic that we started off with, especially when my mic wasn't working, but of actions speaking louder than words. We just talked about that, right? Like, you have this person, this friend of yours that you were going to hang out with, and they wanted to offer some criticisms. They wanted to offer some words saying of how they didn't believe in what you were doing or your way of life, your lifestyle. But at the same time, what is their actions saying? Their words can say one thing, but what are their actions saying? So as Jedi, we have to look at that. We have to move past the words and forget all that. We got to pull our ego a little bit out of it and think, all right, this person treated me wrong in the leaving me on anytime someone just leaves you hanging like that, like, not cool. Like, again, most of us, we got things we can do with our time. So let someone know. Let them know. There's no reason to go. There's no reason to go quiet. If your plans change, if you're like, yo, I got this opportunity, I'm gonna do this thing. You don't even have to say that much. You can just say, hey, plans changed. Not gonna be able to make it. So I'll catch you on the next one. Catch you on the flip. That's all good. So you never have to leave someone on red like that. So that's bad, first of all, that they did that. So that's action number one we can look at, right? Action number two we can look at is that they outwardly disregarded their own relationship, which, they clearly have an issue with being poly, but at the same time, they're going to take their one-on-one relationship, and then they're going to, I always get turned around in here. And then they're going to, they're going to disregard it. They're going to be unfaithful in that. This one relationship, this one person. this one person, which they, say, oh, this is a person that I focus on. This is a person that I care about. And then they're going to go ahead and cheat in the weirdest ways. I just want to go back to that. All right, let's fight these guys first. Guys, I'm trying to talk and you're interrupting. That's rude. Very rude. I got to go back to just the circle of cheated on her boyfriend with my boyfriend's cousin. Man, that's like 5 ways to Kevin Bacon right there. All right, so what's the Jedi advice that you're looking for there specifically? Because, like, I mean, that's just a situation where I'm like, all right. I mean, you can accept. Here's the thing, and I did it again with the person that I had experience with in something similar, like they were judgmental in a similar way, but very hypocritical in nature. Like when you look at their actions, you're like, you have no right to judge anybody on any kind of behavior, and but for them, I accepted them for who they were. That's who they were. Jedi philosophy number 1: acceptance is peace. Now, acceptance doesn't mean, resignation. Acceptance doesn't mean surrender. Acceptance doesn't mean that you agreement. Acceptance doesn't mean agreement. Let's see. Peyton, I just don't want to react to the situation with a lot of anger and learn to move on from her. Okay. So recognizing that, first of all, good. Number 2, you're allowed to be angry, though. You don't have to react in anger. But you are allowed. Your anger is allowed. So understand that. Like, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to feel slighted, insulted. Those are all natural, and those are, they all derive from the ego, the sense of I, the id, whatever you want to call it, right? But those are still fair. But however we want to call it, it's still legit, and it's something as Jedi we still have to deal with. So don't think you don't have to deal with those emotions. There is no emotion, there is peace. The secret to that is understanding that it never says a Jedi has no emotion, right? It's about being at peace with your emotions. So you're allowed to feel, you're allowed to acknowledge it and come to terms with it. That's the first thing. Is, all right, I'm mad about this. Why am I mad about this? Like, what makes me mad about this? And there's no wrong answer there. There's no wrong answer to why a situation makes you mad or why you're angry. Those are all, it doesn't matter. It'll always be a valid answer. Even if it is, just as my ego, even if it's that simple of an answer, if that's what it is, that's what it is. And we have to look at it and discover it. So how you move on from that, which is tough. Again, the person that, I have some similar experience with, I consider them my best friend. And it was tough. It was very tough for me to accept that. We're just going to skip through all this. Skip through this. This guy's just giving us a mission to go to a Jedi temple. Imperials are there, just as a recap for those that don't know the game. But I figure anybody watching who already knows the game.
I think.
Okay. For the Republic. All right. So sit with it, understand it, and then you have to make the choice. Acceptance is peace, right? That's where we're going with that. Acceptance is peace. So you accept the person for who they are, and maybe the growth they have to do, maybe the learning they have to do. And if they're not there yet, they're not ready yet, if that's just not who they are, maybe period, they're never going to get there, that's fine, right? So you just have to kind of accept the person for who they are and what they've shown you. Again, actions, right? And so we accept their actions, we accept who they are, and we're like, yo, no hate, no malice in my heart. That's the thing. We have to get over that anger, that visceral first. and we have to deal with it ourselves and talk about it. You know, talk about it with someone you trust, someone you love, boyfriend, whoever, and then you work from that, and you sit with it, you understand it, and then you can say, I'm done with this person, and you can probably even talk with them, or sometimes those relationships just die out. A lot of people in those situations, they feel the guilt, they know what they did wrong, they know what's up, they're not oblivious to it, so they'll kind of usually bow out on their own, not really excited to confront what they did. So there's usually an out there, but if you want to confront it more verbally and make it known, your displeasure known, then you can do that, and you can set that thing in motion. So I used to play. It just hurts. Oop, I missed out. Let me catch back up. I just don't want to react to the situation out of anger. Darcy, give in to your anger. Not helping, Zito. You're not helping, man. No, it just hurts because I thought our friendship was going well until she clearly has started to show her true colors over the last couple of days, and that can happen. That can happen with people. You know, you can have common ground with them. Like not everything disappears. It, you know, takes if you're able to, you know, take a little bit to sit with it and understand, all right, here's the things I like about the person. Here's the things that started off our friendship, and then here's the things that went wrong. Here's what they said, and here's their actions. Those things maybe are not lining up, and I'm just gonna have to move on with it. And it hurts. It sucks. It always hurts to lose a friend. It's never a good thing. Like I said, with my experience was a best friend, and it took me a while. It's actually more than one best friend. I've lost friends over the years, and it's really, really, really tough. It's really hard because of, oh, I missed a power conduit. Well, we're going right back. Just consider it, chalk it up to my ADHD or something. But it's just, you know, it's always tough. It's going to be tough, and it's one of those things that you're going to have to sit with. Be honest with yourself at least. You know, you can be angry, you can be hurt, and that's fair. And understanding why too. Both because of her own actions, as well as maybe the expectations you had of friendship and what it means to be your friend. A lot of people, when they start friendships with us, they don't even understand what it means to be our friends. You know, they don't understand the expectations we kind of have that come with that. And everybody has those. Every single person has an expectation that they expect, you know, from their friends. A certain amount of loyalty, a certain amount of communication. Everybody has those expectations over pure acceptance, right? Especially in the beginning. Oh, man, come on. So one of the things is you're just gonna have to either have that conversation and be like, look, this is what I expect from my friendships, and this is the type of understanding I expect. And if you can't have that understanding of my relationship, if you're gonna be judgmental of it, then we gotta go. Then you gotta go, and that's just what it is. And saying goodbye to those friendships and saying so long to those friendships could be really tough, especially it seems like a small circle. I mean, that seems like the boyfriend's cousins, you know, like that seems like a really small circle of people, and that can be really tough to. No, right. That way. Did I not do that? I thought I went back. All right. Anyways, so that can be tough. But yeah, I would work through it. Oh, I didn't. I guess I fought the guys and I didn't do it. Obviously, right? Acceptance. Clearly messed that up. But yeah, you just have to accept people for who they are, and then what you're willing to tolerate and not tolerate. And if you're not willing to tolerate that kind of disrespect, if you're not willing to tolerate that kind of behavior and that, then peace out. And that's tough, and it hurts, and it's not fun. It's not fun, right? But you have to stay true to yourself, and you have to stay true to the atmosphere you want to breathe. One of the wellness areas for Jedi is environmental wellness, and that's not just, you know, Greenpeace or anything like that, right? That's not just recycling. That is about actually cultivating the environment you live in, because the environment you live in, the people you hang out with, the people you talk with, the people you give your time, energy to, they all affect you. That's all information and noise that's hitting your brain every single day. That's your emotional overload. That's everything. It's flooding into your emotional health, your mental health, all of it, which affects your physical health, your spiritual. It all plays together. So you have to curate your environment. You have to curate who you're talking to. It's why the Jedi were pretty insular. But when we look at Jedi like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn, they had these outward relationships with all these different people of the universe, right? And they had these relations with different beings, but they were, I mean, every time we get to see their behavior, we get to see their personalities. They're jovial, they're outgoing, they're positive influence that we would like to see. And that's because Jedi aren't going to put up with the negativity. They're not going to put up with the nonsense. They're not going to put up with the drama, right? They're going to really curate their environment and make sure that they're building a healthy environment around them. And so you got to do the same. Sometimes you got to say peace out to people who just aren't healthy, who aren't just there yet. And maybe they will be someday. Maybe you'll connect later on, a few years down the road, some tough lessons learned. You know, goodbyes aren't always forever, but certainly sometimes they need to happen for a little bit. You know, I've never reconnected to the two friends that match this example, that were, I consider my best friends, and I consider them my best friends, and then, you know, they were just, you know, we had this kind of really messy complication come up, and you have to look at their actions, and we had to, you know, terminate that friendship. And it's tough, it hurts, it's no fun, and it takes time to get over. It's grief. You have to understand that too. You allow for grief. As a Jedi, you gotta allow for the grief process, because you're losing something. Loss doesn't matter if it's permanent or not. You know, like breakups, friendship breakups, any kind of loss, that's grief. You know, loss of a pet, right? Loss of a loved one, that's all grief. And you have to allow for the grieving process. You have to go through the anger, you have to go through the bargaining, you have to allow yourself to kind of to ruminate on it and really accept, and until you can come to really accept, you know, what's good for you and what is moving on. What does moving on really mean? What does moving forward really mean? And what does that look like for you? So it's about acceptance. It's grieving. It's the grief process. You've lost something. You've lost a friend, and that's no good. That's no fun. That's sucky as everything. And I'm sorry that you've had to go through that. And now it's the grieving process, and that's what you're gonna have to face next. You know, it's that grieving process and learning how to, you know, move forward. Let's see. Okay, can't go there. Let's see. I'm behind again. Zeno, I used to play Star Wars: The Old Republic. Great, amazing online game. I agree. I still have fun with it. I haven't played in a little bit. My subscription even lapsed there for a while. But yeah, I enjoy the game. I like anything Star Wars. I like anything you could play a Jedi. I've been thinking about maybe streaming Jedi Fallen Order. But the way I play that game, I just worry about motion sickness because that game's and I'm horrible at it, man. I'm horrible at it. So maybe we'll stream that. If I get enough people saying they want to see that, maybe we'll do that. But, you know, again, we see how I play this, where I just stop and talk because I get sidetracked. Well, it's quite a large circle as we all go to the same skating rink. Where everyone knows each other. All right, skating rink. Yeah, I used to go to a skating rink in, let's see, yeah, that's where I need to go. I used to go to a skating rink in, when I lived in Michigan. Jackson, Michigan. Used to go to a skating rink out there, and it was similar. You know, everybody knew everybody, and everybody's drama was kind of everybody's drama, and it was definitely interesting times for sure. But yeah, it's in either case, you know, if you can, you know, sometimes you just gotta let people, be the people they are. You know, it has nothing to do with you, right? Like, if they want to act that way, that's kind of on them. If they want to try to lecture you, well, now you have something to be like, look, I appreciate your concern, but your actions have already shown that your words ain't there. Like, I'm not gonna take your advice to heart. Like, no offense, but you've already shown me what you are, and you have to do that with, again, that peace in your heart. That I've come to terms with this, right? Like, the grief, you've gone through it, you've accepted it. This is what's best, and you know, grief is a process, so it may still take some time. But once you get there, that's like the beginning steps. You can say, all right, I got this, you know, I'm good. You know, like, I can say goodbye to this person, not out of anger, not out of hate. Like, I don't hate this person, but they are no good. They're not good for me, and I don't need to keep them in my life. So I'm gonna say goodbye. And you know, sometimes we have to do that with romantic relationships or family relationships. You know, and those are, you know, and friendships, and those are really tough because, you know, those are relationships that mean a lot to us. Those are relationships that mean a lot to us. But if you're not being treated right, if you're not being treated fairly, if you're not being heard, if you're not being treated how you should be treated, and you've really got to look at that, you know, imposter syndrome and self-esteem issues aside, you got to put that away for a second and be like, would I allow my best friend to be treated this way? If you need to step outside for a second and think that way, you know, what would my advice be to my best friend if their significant other or their best friend or their family members were treating them this way? Would I advise them to shut the door? And if the answer is yes, you got to shut that door. Got to get there first. Sit with it for a little bit. Not everything has to be done right away. I know society today, with the way the world is, it's all about things now. But, you know, emotions don't run on Amazon Prime. Sometimes they take more than 2 days to get to us. Sometimes we have to sit with things for a while. Sometimes we have to understand that, you know, this is going to take a little time for me to really reflect on and consider. So allow that, and then when you're at peace with it, when you're good with you, when you know this is what I need to do, this is what I need to do, not just for me, but for my environment, for my well-being, and for those around me. Because again, your environment gets affected by you. So if you're in a bad spot, if you're in a bad headspace, if you're in a bad relationship, again, whether friends, family, significant other, romantic, whatever, it doesn't matter. If you're in that bad negative space, that's going to affect those around you. That's going to bleed over. As much as you may try to I can't say that word right now, but as much as you may try to section off parts of your life, it's going to bleed over. It's always going to bleed over. And when you have negative friendships, you know, who are you going to talk to? You're going to talk to your significant other. You're going to talk to family members. And you need that. You need that social circle. But if it's always a negative bleed off, you know, that can start to wear on those relationships too. So it's an environmental wellness and understanding, all right, I'm not in a healthy place right now. So what can I do to help get to a healthy place? What can I do to help build a more healthy environment? And sometimes that means, you know, letting friends go, which again hurts. We go through the grieving process, but we do that. I have to go back to work. I'll try and swing by in a bit. Have a good night, teacher. All right, Christopher, man, have a good one. Have a good night. Appreciate you. Let's see. Zeno, if you ever play Dark Souls, that one. Dark Souls, no, that's not my kind of game, my friend. Dark Souls is not my kind of game. I play games on easy mode. I play games to relax. I do not play games to die and get frustrated. I have a mobile game that frustrates me. Like, that makes me want to throw my phone. I don't like banging my head against the wall at all. That's not my type of gameplay. That's not my type of gameplay at all. Jedi Fallen Order, uh, much simpler. I could put it on easy mode. I still die, especially when you have to do. There's this level where you have to slide down a pipe like 3 or 4 times, and I'm horrible at that Super Mario Brothers stuff, man. I just whoop. Platforming is not my not my forte. So I die all the time. Fellow Midwesterner from Indiana. Oh, my mom's from Indiana. So respect. Yeah, I just lived in Michigan for a couple years, and I lived in Montana for a couple years. Mainly, I'm California, uh, born and bred. It's my home. But yeah, so but yeah, being out there and gave me a little understanding of it. Got to partake in the culture a bit, if you will. But yeah, so hopefully that helps. I might just be saying things you already know and things that you already understand and are getting to all on your own. It's basic Jedi philosophy.
I don't care why you did this, but I'm glad it's done. I owe you one. So take these credits. The Republic honors its debts.
The Republic honors its debts. All right. But, as a Jedi, you sit with it, you meditate with it. Don't internalize it. Don't feel you have to do that. Understand that, people are responsible for themselves. People are responsible for their own actions. And that includes you. You're responsible for what you do from, here on out. And how you choose to go forward. All right, NOK and Ship's Hollow. All right, so we're going back to here. So, yeah, it's just about moving forward. Their actions have showed you who they are, and then you move forward from there. And I mean, that's on them. They have no one to blame but themselves. Like, there's no sense in trying to judge someone's lifestyle and then going out and doing exactly what they accuse you of. It's like the old saying, right? Cheaters always think the other person is cheating, right? Because, I mean, liars always think everybody else is lying, that sort of thing. It's when you live that way, you assume everybody else lives that way. And it's a mistake of the young, I want to say. That's not quite. It's the mistake of the... I don't know. I don't have a good way of saying it. It's basically the mistake of the ignorant, right? It's a mistake of people who don't look outside themselves. It's just a wrong way of thinking, because everybody's their own, person. As much as we are not autonomous, we do have autonomy. And we'll get into all sorts of that kind of, those fun things, topics, some other time. But people are responsible for their own actions. They make their own choices. Your friend made her choice. It was the wrong choice on multiple ends, right? If you're not in a relationship, if you're in a relationship you are not happy in, then you end the relationship. You don't go and cheat. Just end the relationship. If you are in a relationship you're happy with, you're not going to cheat. That's just the reality, and you're not going to blow off your friends to go do it either. So actions have spoken, words have obviously spoken. So now it's understand that has nothing really anything to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. That's all on them, and you accept them for who they are. Godspeed, and you move forward with your life and do your things, and you can remain civil and cordial and all that, but you can know them for who they are, and that's that.
The power darkness is obsolete. The conduits are fully functional, and I have witnessed through our monitors.
Jax.
Also,
the
you destroyed many enemy droid
maybe.
machines. So
I don't even know if it's a matter of experience, but it might. Yeah, maybe like yeah, it's just tough to find a word that's not that's not insulting, really, that's not degrading, because really when you're talking about people who they're just too wrapped up in themselves to acknowledge the outside world or to think outside themselves, to think of the other people. And we can call that selfish, but it's more than just being selfish. Like it's just it's being ignorant. Like it's being closed off to the rest of the world, to the other people, thinking that the world revolves around you, or that everybody acts the way that you do, or that everybody's kind of gone through what you've gone through, or everybody does what you do, right? It's like when it's when you're young, and you first. I think why pineapple on pizza is such a big debate is because it's one of the first big things as a kid you realize there's a major difference in. There's like no one who really is like, that's okay. It's either you really like it or you really don't. And as a kid is when you first really learn that dichotomy that happens there. And you kind of always just assume people always just had it your way, that people always just ate pizza your way, right? Why would they? Why would they have it any different? And then you realize, what are you talking about? You put pineapple on pizza. Or what are you talking about? You never put pineapple on pizza. Like, what do you... That's absurd. That's absurd. It never even occurred to you that this thing was, that it could be any different than how it is. And that transcends through life. That transcends through everything. That transcends through all social issues that, you just do not like comprehend that. What do you mean you've never experienced this? Or what do you mean? And it's one of our biggest barriers, especially with social issues and society in general, especially when you get into isms like capitalism and religions and all that stuff. It's like, what do you mean you've never done this? Or what do you mean you don't understand this? It's one of those things. And we first really experience it as a kid with such a silly debate, because who really cares in the end? Eat your pizza however you like your pizza, but there it is, right? Like we all experience that. We all know that debate. We all understand it. We all understand the frustration that comes with it. And now there's people who will die on that hill, right? But at the same time, I mean, inexperience is a good way to say that, but at the same time, I don't know if that quite conveys it, because there are people like this person that we're discussing. There is a point where it's like, all right, it's not about inexperience anymore. This person has experience. This person knows what they're doing. They just have never bothered to look outside themselves. They just never bothered to stop and realize another person's perspective or what another person is feeling. They've just never done that. And yeah, I mean, there's a lack of experience there, obviously, but that I don't think we could chalk it up to quote unquote inexperience as much as we chalk it up to. Yeah, there's a lot of words. None of them are nice. Let's see, Xeno. What do we got? Yeah, I feel you, dude. Far Cry 6 is a good game. I've been looking at it. One, the commercial really got me because I can't even remember his name. He's the Moff Gideon in The Mandalorian. But man, he plays a good bad guy, and not only that, the actor relishes playing a bad guy. Like he loves it. He has fun with it. And I saw a commercial for Far Cry 6 with him in it, and it was just phenomenal, and it made me want to get the game. So I'm glad to hear that it's a good game. I might pick it up. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 online. I've been thinking about it. I did start a character on Final Fantasy 14 because I really want to play a Gunblade. I really want to do that, but I haven't gotten out there yet. Let's see, Peyton the Nerd, the Arrogant maybe, or Blissfully Ignorant. Yeah, there's a lot of... I keep trying to come up with it. I think Self-Absorbed would be a good term. I think Self-Absorbed is
Droid? Your bizarre praise makes it all worthwhile.
There it is.
Please remember, Gree technology is
But
exclusive
yeah,
to
like
the
I
Enclave.
think
Do not attempt to duplicate, or you will be
self-absorbed
absorbed
is
into the
probably
Great
probably the
Pentagon.
most accurate term that we can say. Uh, and again, it's not really an insult. It's just an observation, right? And that's one of those things we keep coming to. It's like, what's this whole night's kind of been on it. What's the difference between an insult and an observation? Well, when your actions meet it, then you know. And I've been accused of that more than once. It's something that I've had to struggle with as a Jedi because, I found myself in this kind of position of talking or mentorship or teaching or things of that nature. Over the years, I found myself in those positions, but that doesn't mean I play nice all the time. And that doesn't mean that I'm willing to kowtow to just anybody. And if someone acts like a jerk, I'm going to call them a jerk. I'm going to be like, stop being a jerk. And of course, that doesn't sit well with the ego. That doesn't sit well with everybody. Oops, gotta go right back. Because no one likes really being called out. No one likes that stuff, right? It's tough for the ego to accept being called out on our behavior and our actions, especially when we're in the wrong. And so that can be tough. But as a Jedi, I've always maintained throughout the years that calling a black cat is not an insult. It's an observation. When we say someone's being a jerk, it's not because we're being mean or we're trying to insult them. It's look, if I call you a douche canoe, it's because you're being like douche canoe. Like don't do that thing, and I won't call you that thing, right? Like if I won't call you self-absorbed if you're not being self-absorbed, And if I do, then you got full rights to call me out and prove otherwise, right? Actions prove otherwise. Words prove otherwise. We can point to certain things that allow us to say, look, I've observed A, B, C, and that equals E over here, man. Like, that just, it is what it is. So we come back to, how do we observe these people? What is the observable content, and what's the words that come up to that? Sometimes that's a jerk. Sometimes that's self-absorbed. Sometimes that's inexperienced. Sometimes that's, it gets worse. Sometimes it gets worse than that. But those are the realities, and that's in line with Jedi philosophy. Don't think that's it. Don't think Jedi are just like play nice and always on the most polite behavior and like speak the Queen's English or something. All right, like that's not how the Jedi philosophy works. There is no banned words in the Jedi community. It's just a question of, are we using the words properly? Are we using our words in a way that conveys our message properly? And that's what's important. Sometimes it's better to call people inexperienced if that's what it is. And sometimes it's better to call people absorbed. And sometimes it's better to call people a-holes, Like, it is what it is. Let's see. Xeno. I just finished the main story in Final Fantasy XIV and Heaven's Sword. Alright, you've gone through all of it. I also finished my Dark Knight side quest. See, the Dark Knight looked really cool too. That looked like a really cool thing. I just don't have the people to play with, unfortunately. Like my social circle's really, really small. Like super small, especially with time to play video games. Like what I have been playing recently outside of Cyberpunk is I have been able to play New World a bit. I've been playing New World a bit. I haven't gotten very far into it, but I've been having fun with New World. And the people that I have gotten to play with, Jax and of course, what are you, Kenzie? You Scold? What do I call you? Scold. Butterfly. Significant other. Person on the other side of my computer. I've been playing with Jax of Scold and being able to experience New World, and I thought New World was pretty fun. I haven't had, there's, like, Star Wars to me has won in the MMO department. Like, Star Wars Galaxies, when it first came out, like, I loved the leveling system and the way of character progression in that game. I love the fact that socialization could get you levels and money, like I thought that was great. And I really loved how it was originally set up. and I thought that was great. And I really love the storytelling of the Old Republic that really allows you that role play atmosphere. You get to step into your character's shoes. Is this a light side action? Is this a dark side action? As we've done throughout this series, and hopefully will continue to do, sometimes there's quote unquote dark side actions in this game that line up with Jedi philosophy, and those are the decisions that really made me want to start live streaming this game. Is because I love talking about those decisions where it's like, you've gained dark side points, and you're like, yeah, but I made the Jedi decision. So, that's something I hope we get to explore further on. But I liked New World. I really like that you can progress in characters by crafting and things of that. But so far, Star Wars has won my MMO competitions there. I think we need a modern open world Star Wars game. I think so too. Hi, my name is Scold. It's me, the significant other. Yeah, I think we need a modern open. I would love to see something along the lines of Matrix Online, but with like Star Wars or something of that nature. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see these ideas form together. I want to see New World blended with the Old Republic. I want to see a blend of it. I want it all, right? Like, I would love to see. I think we can do better in our games instead of like trying to pick and choose what we're gonna do. Are we gonna do good storytelling, or are we gonna do good character progression? Are we gonna keep things like WoW, or are we gonna like create our own system? Let's marry it all together and create something good. You're not gonna make everybody happy, but I think you can. I still think you could do something special.
The Black Bisector returns prosperous, and we form the Red Parallel, Senator Aranda. The Enclave Republic bargain evolves achievement.
So you succeeded. You really helped all the delegates complete their repairs to the infrastructure?
Yes, I did.
There were difficulties, but the Force was with us.
The Force was
The
with us.
Enclave delivers its
And a lot of
promised
pontificating,
Senator.
and standing around, just
and the Enclave
philosophizing
Republic
and
reciprocity.
stuff.
Ambassador Droid Patake, the Republic has other damaged worlds that could benefit from your Gree ingenuity. I propose drafting a formal treaty between the Republic and the Gree Enclave. What do you say to that?
What do you say?
You seek a blue parallel with the Enclave. I
Yeah,
am
check
astonished, gratified, challenged by the prospect. Let us initiate renewed white vertex at once.
Renewed white vertex. Let's do it. Let's keep this conversation going. We've done good work.
I'm glad to have aided the formation of this new alliance.
Indeed.
By your actions, we see that Gree technology will be invaluable as we rebuild the rest of the Republic.
Well, of course.
You have my thanks for all your efforts. I'd almost given up on these droids before you came along.
A little
That would have
patience
been a
goes a long
costly
way.
mistake.
Acknowledgement and profound tribute, Black Bisector. This collaboration achieves through you.
Let's see. I'm down with that, actually. Yeah, I think we could marry a good game. I think we could come up with something. Let's sell trash items. What we got here? Got a lot of junk in here. Alright. Yeah, let's see what. I just imagine a GTA style game on Coruscant. That sounds fun. That sounds weird. I was always hoping they would bring back 1313. Because that looked like it was going to be a fun game on the lower levels of Coruscant. Maybe have that GTA style feel to it, or maybe that cyberpunk style feel to it. And I was really looking forward to seeing what they were going to do with that. And of course, that project died out a long time ago, but I was always hoping they would bring it back, and that just never materialized. But yeah, I love the way those droids talk. Absolutely. I think they're great. But, that's the thing. When you approach someone with no expectations and just the willingness to listen to them, even if they're speaking in ways that you might not fully understand, you can usually read between the lines. You can work through it, and that's part of diplomacy in Jedi Path too. Rip 1313 for real, for real. And that was all right. Let's just get out of here. We gotta use our ship's hollow terminal. Yeah, that was one of those ones, man, that I was really looking forward to. Broadcasting to YouTube has resumed. Are you there yet? What's all the pausing, man? Come on. Dude, I'm just going to my ship. It's not that big of a deal. We're back. Alright.
Every time I see you return from a mission,
Let's see. There's so many Star Wars projects we know about that died before they came to fruition. It makes me think about how there were many, or think how many there are that we never found out about. Oh, there's a lot that die on that floor. there's a lot, you know. Yeah, anybody associated with that industry understands that there is a lot of things where you hear talks about. You know, I remember when the Star Wars rumor mill was going big after, I think it was The Last Jedi, and there was like a lot of talks of movie projects and who they were going to hire for this and who was going to be the director for that, and there was just all these talks, and they were like, we have 20 projects in the work, and then The Last Jedi came out, and there was like a lot of like controversy over that, and we saw a backslide on all the projects that they had talked about, and all the things that, you know, they had planned. There was they were talking about a movie with a young Yoda that matched maybe the Seventh Samurai, you know, and we saw a bit of that with Star Wars Visions. So if you caught Visions, we saw a bit of maybe a lot of those ideas that were pitched that just were cut, you know, that were just like, all right, that's an idea, we'll put it to the side, or we'll greenlight this project, and then nothing came from it, or we're going to set this aside, you know. Rian Johnson was supposed to get his own Star Wars trilogy, and then where's that? We've heard nothing on that, right? That's backslid. We've heard, you know, there's rumors that he still has that project. There's rumors he doesn't have that project. You know, it's an always moving machine, and it's even worse for games because they're third-party IPs. They're you know, removed developers who are in meetings and with a middleman, and then they're in meetings with this person, and you have this idea where they're like, okay, you got to go ahead to make this game, and then no, okay, we're not going that way, we're going to move in a different direction. You lose, you know, there's a lot of ideas that get the steam and then never amount to anything, you know. There was a lot of series that were supposed to happen that didn't happen, some that are happening that maybe shouldn't, you know, like, it's always wild what it was going to be. I know one of the video games that they were working on and really developing during around the same time as 1313 was a Darth Maul game where you got to play a young Darth Maul as he goes through his Sith training and goes out on missions and stuff like that. So you got to play and see the development of Darth Maul and really get to understand that character. And the developers were really excited about exploring that character, what makes someone like that and this and that. You know, what makes Maul Maul, right? What drives him, and what things in his past might push him forward. And of course, that project, you know, was scrapped, and we never saw anything with that. So, you know, it's just one of those things. Let's see, Scold. The pausing is due to source poopy UI. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is poopy. I understand. There was going to be a standalone Kylo Ren and a standalone Darth Maul too. Yeah. Shoot, even Vader was gonna have his own game too. And I mean, there's a lot of room you could play with. I think IPs like this, where you get to create your own character and have your own Star Wars story, are important. I would really, really, really love to see a remake, as all fans would, of Star Wars Galaxies. People who played Star Wars Galaxy when it first came out, I think, would love to see a remake of that. You know, clean it up, give it good graphics, and but keep some of that progression tree of allowing your character to be who you want to be in the Star Wars universe. And I think there's, you know, a great way to do that. And I think that's, I think that would be a better way to go. You know, but we've already talked about that. There's some stuff that got so far into production that they could probably release it if they wanted to. Star Wars Detours, absolutely, absolutely, they could. You know, they could. I mean, we know they could, because like you look at, you know, the final season of Clone Wars, they, you know, they had that stuff. You know, they didn't even have as much production done on that as what some of these other projects have got done on them, that have just, they're gone now. They're just sitting dead. They're just, you know, rest in peace, man. Like they're just not getting any traction whatsoever. They're just considered done. That just sucks, you know. But acceptance is peace. We accept the machine that is Lucas and Disney, and we take what we can get. Anybody reading the comics of the High Republic or the books or anything like that?
Come in, Coruscant Control. Requesting permission to launch.
Permission granted, Master Jedi. Coordinates to Ord Mantell have been uploaded to your Navicomputer. Good hunting.
Good hunting. Let's go get them. Always like the minimalistic lightsaber is the best. It's my preference. Now you know that. Let's see. But yeah, as anybody on the books, the novels, or you know, if any of you are on Instagram, a good person to follow is Blue Milk Mama. She's got some fun Instagram content that covers like the books and the comic releases, as well as recipes for some delicious treats that are all Star Wars inspired, so I highly recommend that. Peyton there. Well, it was nice talking to you, Opie, but I'm gonna head out now for sure. I think it's been a while. I might be calling it soon anyways. Much thanks for the advice, and may the Force be with you. Hope I helped or gave food for thought or something of that nature. But absolutely, may the Force be with you. Have a good night. Take care. Have a good night. Relax. Chill. You've earned it. Go have fun. I don't even know where I'm at. I don't even know how long I've been here. I used to have someone who got time for me, but he's a busy man, and he's off doing his own things these days. So I lost my I lost my counter, man. I lost the person keeping track of how long I'm doing this thing. But it's always good when we have questions. I know Peyton's taking off, but want to give a shout out to Peyton and say thank you. It's always good when people have questions and comments, and you know, keeping the chat active.
General,
keeps this.
I've arrived at Ord Mantell.
Keeps this active.
Perfect timing. I've just finished coordinating things with my man on the ground there. SIS Agent Ottow followed the enemy transmissions to a specific location planetside. He'll give you the full details. Your T7 unit can interface with Darth Angrel's hyperspace data transceiver and download his communications. Take the droid with you.
Guess I'll be playing Dajaric against myself while you have all the fun.
It's what you deserve. Some of these choices in this game, man, are just like the dialogue choices. I'm just like, what are we doing? We have our orders. You should come instead. It's what you deserve. Okay, relax. Palpatine fucking Jr.
I'm ready to go, General.
Take a shuttle to the surface and meet Agent Ottow. Good hunting. Bar Suthra out.
Let's see. Were we gonna go over your drama? I think I already went over my drama with
I've visited my share of
what I
seedy
said.
ports, but this
I'll
one's
get
the
into it. Hang on.
seediest. Just as
These
well I'm
people
staying
talk.
behind. I'll make sure nobody steals our landing thrusters.
Good plan.
Take care of things here. We'll return soon.
Have fun down there.
Alright. My drama was covered basically in action speaking louder than words. You know, when someone demonstrates over and over and over again, and even if that demonstration is within the span of minutes, but they're just do over and over and over again, then you have to listen to that. You have to listen to the actions. And our words online are actions. How you act online is an action. People like to think that online's not like a real space or something, but it's real. It's real. How you act online is it's still action. It's still you acting. It's still you making conscious decisions. It's still you choosing to act in a certain way. So a person's actions, regardless whether online, offline, doesn't matter. And if they show you something and you make the observation that they're acting like an ignorant jerk, well, that's not being insulting. That's an observation. You're not throwing an insult. You're saying, you know, well, let's see. Fall in love with her, romance her. I have romanced Kira before, for sure. I have done that. Because romance is not outside the Jedi philosophies, and we will get into that for sure. But love, romance, carnal relations, none of that is outside of Jedi philosophy. So that's something we could get into, but for sure, that's I've done that before in game where I've romanced Kara. It's a nice romance. I like it, and when you reunite in the expansion, like way later, I think it was one of the newer expansions that came out, was good. You know, it was a good show. Concerned Hush. But yeah, so my drama actually, I'm gonna do this because I don't know how much longer we're gonna be here. So let's go. Get on the table, but my drama was just that someone wanted to. Let's see, is that it? No, that's not it. Nope, that's not it either. There we go. So I posted something online that said, basically, I don't remember it's a pretty famous quote from Terry Pratchett, that, you know, satire. It's not satire if you're making fun of people who are hurting. It's just being a bully. It's just being cruel. And I posted that. And of course, it's a pretty standard thing. It's a pretty known concept in comedy about the idea of that you punch up, you don't punch down. We make jokes about the things that we've been through. We can joke about the hard times we've gone through. We can joke about, comedians do it all the time. There's a lot of stand-up comedians that I like, and of course they draw on their personal life experience. And those personal life experiences are often dark, they're often tough, they're often, either about bad neighborhoods they grew up in, or really bad relationships they were in, or bad mistakes they made, substance abuse, all this stuff. And of course there's comedians that I like, stand-up comedians that I like that are either children of immigrants, or some are immigrants themselves, or and they have those stories that deal with some pretty tough issues, some societal issues, some really hardcore stuff, but they make the jokes about it and we laugh together about it. And and so, but it's a pretty wide understanding that comedy, good comedy, is about punching up. It's not about punching down. We laugh at Jeff Bezos's dick rocket, right? It's very phallic. We all know that, and we all laugh at him. We all, he's a Rent-A-Center, Dr. Evil, like he's just, bargain basement, supervillain, like just the worst, like just the worst kind, right? And, we kind of get mad. We get mad, like DC has Lex Luthor and we got Jeff Bezos. Like that's how messed up is our reality. We are clearly living in the worst timeline that our supervillain is Jeff Bezos, right? Like that's just horrible, but that's punching up, man. We can make fun of that dude. He's worth more than whatever, like so much money combined. It's like the historical value is ridiculous. Still not the richest man in history. Still belongs to an African king. Boom. There's a win there. But so it's a pretty well understanding, but of course, stock market frat boy dude wanted to come in and argue for no reason. He came in and was like very defensive and started accusing me of censoring comedy. First of all, sharing a meme about a quote that an author made is not censoring comedy at all. It has no bearing. Like, no one cares. Like, the big debate recently was Dave Chappelle and his comedy special, because he was making jokes about transgender people, and then he ended his special being like, well, I have a transgender friend, so it's okay. The parallels there are a little on the nose for me. So we'll avoid all that. We won't get into that debate. But I guess that has people really, really, defensive of safeguarding comedy. But the reality is, so this guy comes on defending, comedy and the right to make jokes about trauma, and accusing me of saying that people with trauma aren't allowed to laugh at things anymore, and this and that, and just kept replying to this thing. And no matter what I said, where I was like, that has nothing to do with the original post. Everything you said has nothing to do with the original post. What you're saying has nothing to do with the point of comedy is punching up, not punching down. If someone's hurting, you obviously don't make fun of a person who's hurting. You don't make fun of a person who's going through grief. You don't make fun of a person who's struggling with addiction at that time. You don't point and laugh at them, because that's not comedy. That's not satire. That's bullying. That's mocking. That's making fun of. That you're a jerk at that point, right? You don't do that. What you do is when a person's hurting, you respect that journey. You respect that process. Instead, you build up, right? But comedy, that laughs at all sorts of things. That laughs at our struggles. That laughs at our pain. That laughs at our trauma. But only by those who have gone through it. And I made that point. I made that point that whoever, like, I'm not going to laugh. If I see a comedian trying to laugh at my trauma and I know they've never experienced the trauma, I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to be like, whoa. I'm going to view it as an attack, because that person has never experienced. And it goes back to that experience, what we talked about earlier. That person has never experienced what I've been through. That person has never experienced what it feels like to go through this thing. So why do they don't have the right to mock it, to offer satire about it, to laugh at it. If you're laughing at something you've never been through, you're pointing and laughing. You're pointing and laughing. And that's not comedy, because you're not laughing with anybody at that point. You're laughing at somebody. That is the whole point. Comedians are about laughing with you. You want to laugh with the comedian. You don't want to have the comedian laughing at you. But this person died on this hill. They died on this hill, to the point where I'm like, dude, I I've lost all respect for this person. They could tell me, they could come to me with the secrets of how to make the most money on the stock market, and I wouldn't listen to a word they had to say. Even if it would make me as rich as Jeff Bezos, I wouldn't listen to a word they had to say, because their word is dirt to me now. Their opinion is dirt to me now, the way that they played this thing out online. Their attitude, their actions, the way they held on to it like a dog, a starving dog with a bone. And how they just kept making things up. They went through the logical fallacies like a grocery list, man. They checked off red herring. They checked off straw man, a fallacy. They played the victim. They just went through all these fallacies of an argument that wasn't there. They started an argument that wasn't even an argument. They started it. And then they just made up their own arguments along the way that no one else was saying. And in the end, I called them a douche canoe and called it a day. And they got offended. They got offended at that, right? They said at the end of the day, look at my language versus your language. And I was cussing in my thing. I was like, F you, man. Like, I'm not putting up with that. That's effing stupid. Again, not outside Jedi philosophy. There is not a Jedi code. There is no cussing. There is only placating, right? That's not in the Jedi code, okay? So you're allowed to speak however you speak. Your vernacular is your vernacular. Your cultural upbringing is your cultural upbringing. Don't let anybody tell you how to speak or what's proper speech and what isn't proper speech. That's all made up societal nonsense, first of all. So don't even go there. Secondly, points, actions, that's what counts. Actions speak louder than words. I can say all day, and that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't take away from my points, and it doesn't take away from my actions. If I'm cussing, that's fine, but what are my actions lining up, right? You could be cussing the entire time you're helping someone up, in a situation. You help them. You could be cussing the entire time. You could be ranting, raving, helping. It's the fact that you help the entire time. Look, you need to vent the entire time you're moving that couch for someone. You can vent the entire time you're moving that couch for someone. That's fine. Your actions speak louder than your words. It's fine, man. It's fine, right? But this person got offended at that. And so, yeah, that's why our Jedi lesson here is actions speak louder than words. And if a Jedi calls a black cat, that's not an insult. That's an observation. If you're being a jerk and a Jedi calls you, hey, you're a jerk, you're a jerk. That's the end of that story. If you're being an ignorant ass clown, then you're being an ignorant ass clown, and I'm in full rights to call you an ignorant ass clown. Like, that's just what it is, man. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. No one is beholden to you. No one has to play nice with you. No one has to take off the gloves for you, especially if your opinion is, especially if you're taking the stance of, well, if that bothers someone else, that's their problem, right? If comedy bothers someone else, well, that's their problem. That shouldn't stop me from telling the joke. All right. Well, if me calling you an ignorant ass clown is that's your problem, then that's not going to stop me from calling you that. That's obviously your problem. So that's my drama. That's what I've been through. That's my rant, and that's where we're at. Let's see. I missed Zeno checking in at 1 a.m. in Tampa. First of all, what's up, Tampa? What's up, Florida? How you doing? You should go to bed. Shame on you. Jedi healthcare. Tomorrow's a work day or school day. Maybe. I don't know your schedule. Don't listen to me. Scold. It's only funny if everyone's laughing, which is why punching up is acceptable humor. You never kick the person that's already on the ground, which is just facts. But that's just common sense, right? Like, how does someone come to you and argue that? Like, you post something and then someone willingly, here's the other problem I have. This person never, they're not liking my content. They're not, in my, we don't have, they just showed up out of nowhere to argue this very basic, thing of comedy that most of society understands. The only people I've ever seen argue that point of comedy about punching up and not punching down, or, you're laughing with us, not laughing at you. Like, the only people I've seen are usually racist, bigot assholes who are in fact being dickheads. Like, those are the only people I've seen come to try to defend comedy. And so I was called the, comedy police and stuff. But, I got work, but not until 4 p.m. Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. When those kinds of interactions happen, I assume they decided to have a bad day and they try to push their issues outside themselves and bring that kind of BS to someone else's doorstep. Yeah, I mean, I don't have an explanation on why someone who doesn't like any of my other posts, never comments on my stuff, never reacts to my stuff, all of a sudden wants to jump in and try to talk shit. Like, okay, like, what do you want? You want to fight? You got to fight. And then, here's what gets me. Like, I'm not against that. Like, if you're having a bad day and you want to fucking throw hands, let's throw hands. But be honest about it. Don't sit there and play the victim. Don't sit there and cry. And don't sit there and try to, well, you're not going to lose a subscriber, Opie. I still appreciate the content. Well, I hope you appreciate the content. I hope you're still here. I don't unsubscribe. Take your Patreon thing and walk away. Your $1 not going to affect me. I promise you. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Like, I don't care. You can take your follow, you can take your like, and you can leave. I don't care. I don't. And that's a mistake I think people make. I'm here for the people who want the content. I'm here for the people who want to talk Jedi philosophy. But if you can't understand, if you want to twist Jedi philosophy, you want to call me being a Sith. You want to say I have a Sith mentality because I called you on your BS. Take your bags and leave, man. Take your $1 and go. I owe you nothing. I owe you nothing. And your opinion to me is dirt, as I've said. My schedule is positive, smooth. I walk to work every day, and it's super close to home. First of all, congratulations. That's really cool. I recently started a job where I actually work from home. I'm still trying to work out that schedule. I got to do better. No lie. But having commute removed, having that stress of commuting and driving to work removed is like such a big deal. Like, it's so, it makes such a positive impact. So that's awesome to hear. 100% support. I really like that. I really like to hear that. Let's see. Skull sounds a lot like a long-time listener, first-time caller. Fail. Like, basically, bro stepped up thinking he was going to change something. I don't even know, man. Like, it was just so disappointing. It was so disappointing to just, like, why are you opening your mouth on this topic? Like, this is such an easy, like, thing, man. Like, I don't even know. But yeah, dude, you guys can go check out my Facebook page. It's public. Opie McLeod on Facebook. You could go check it out and you could read that drama all day long. Bring your tea, for sure. I work full time and my days off are Thursdays and Fridays. Pretty sweet. Thursdays and Fridays. I like that. I like hitting up, or I used to, when I was younger and I worked full time. I had Tuesdays and Wednesdays off, and I would go to Disneyland on Tuesday, and yeah, it was pretty sweet. I like having the weekdays open, but right now I get to make my own schedule. I work from home. It's pretty sweet. But too much freedom is my problem. I have too much freedom right now, and I really have to get that Jedi discipline going and that Jedi, factors in and really do that. But we've been here for like an hour and a half, man. So I'm gonna sign off, everybody. I've done my complaining and shared my drama. We shared someone else's drama today, but I feel we got some Jedi lessons in. We talked about some important stuff and about where it comes from. We had some fun. Also remember, I appreciate everybody, Zeno. Like, really appreciate everybody. Scold, Jax, everybody who was in the chat, Peyton, everybody who offered questions and discussion and kept the chat going. That always helps, with live streams and things of that nature. So it's always worthwhile for people who watch this, especially later on, so they can stay engaged and stuff like that. So I really appreciate that. But we'll have to get some other discussions going later, and we'll talk about that, and we'll, think on it. Are you reading the High Republic comic books? I feel like I'm the only one reading the comic books. I have no one to talk to about that stuff. Come on, people. Get on the High Republic comic books. They got a new series out, High Republic, it's the Investigations one. It just came out last week. #1. It's really good. It's a murder investigation. It's actually really good. I highly recommend it. Zeno, it's great to see you again. Yeah, I'm back at it. Trying to get back at it. We'll try to pick a better time and a better schedule and try to stay on schedule. I'm really trying to work out the schedule for streaming, work, personal life, all that. Trying to get it all moving and trying to get it all together. So we'll try to do something that's a little bit more steady, so everybody knows when they can tune in and when not to, and stuff like that. So it was great to see you. Thank you, Zeno, for hanging out. I really do appreciate it. I really appreciate the comments and the discussions, and so for sure, appreciate you, man. Blackhide Entertainment again. Check out my man Blackhide Entertainment, because he's got entertainment of the Blackhide kind. So go check him out. I appreciate you. So don't even worry about it, man. Skull Cold streams Conan stuff. So if you're interested in Conan Exiles and builds and dude, if you know what, if you just want a good 15 to 30 minute Jedi meditation where you could put something on, just like watch something and have chill music going on and just like chill out, like Jedi meditation for a second, just chill, right? Check out Scold Cold. Give her a follow. Go check her out. I'm telling you, those videos are on point for that. All right. So thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm gonna end this, man, because I'm rambling. I'm tired. You know what? I'm tired. I'm gonna go enjoy my Qui-Gon Jinn, all by my onesie, and.
You made a Qui-Gon Jinn and you didn't make one for me?
I'm in trouble. I'm gonna have to go and make a drink, guys. I'll catch you all later. I appreciate y'all being here, and hopefully we'll get the streams moving again at a more regular time. May the